Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain of human rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of
Good evening, my fellow Americans. It is I, your living host, Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere in the great granite state of New Hampshire. Yes, indeed, the state where the motto is live free or die. It is not big government or bust. Yes, indeedy. It is Friday, January the 4th in the year of our Lord 2013, which means it's the Friday Night Frollies, the first folly night of the new year. And we got to, folks, I got to tell you, I mean, I think I'm going to lose it, but not in an angry way. I'm about to lose my mind with these liberals. And these people are just off their rocker. They really don't get it or understand what's going on. I mean, you can slap them upside the head with the truth, and they still just don't get it. They accuse you of here's an interesting thing. I use government statistics, government numbers from the Obama administration, government statistics, government numbers, Treasury Department numbers, IRS numbers. I use different liberal state numbers, red states. And I put those out there, and they said, well, this is what they're saying. This is what, the government is saying. And you know what I get accused of by liberals? Oh, Rod, you don't understand. You're just out there spewing talking points. Now, I'm the one spewing talking points. This is the stuff that's coming directly from the Obama administration that isn't favorable to Obama. But I'm using talking points? The fact that the country, if you want to call it that, of Dubai doesn't have an income tax, but it has 0% unemployment. That's a talking point, I guess. Facts from the right, the side of the political aisle, are now talking points. And the stuff that is spewed from the left, those are not talking points. I mean, don't go into detail and try to explain what you're saying into great detail, but those are not talking points, I guess. I'm sitting here reading some of this stuff on Facebook, on Google Plus, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, looking at some of the stuff on Pinterest, reading stuff that is on the New York Times website, reading stuff that is on USA Today's website, reading stuff that is on Chicago Sun-Times website. I mean, these are not conservative, reading stuff that sometimes it gets posted on the Huffington Post. And I laugh so damn hard. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I don't have, to get. I don't really have to go ahead and try to get the truth from publications that really try to publish the truth. All I got to do is just go to these liberal publications, because they'll eventually get to it and tell me the truth. They may bury it, but they'll eventually tell you. And folks, I was going to start off with something different tonight. But, speaking of the truth, I just can't let it go. I mean, this is some of the funniest stuff I have seen and heard from or about. But y'all know about Al Gore by now. I mean, now understand this, that Glenn Beck tried to buy, Current TV, Al Gore's cable, fledgling, floundering, failing, the 3 Fs, fledgling, floundering, failing cable network. And Al Gore tried to buy it. But, or not Al Gore, Glenn Beck tried to buy it from Al Gore. And, the Current TV said, no. We have to stick and stay within, we have to stay with our core beliefs, and we want to leave a legacy by selling this to a company or an organization that is more aligned with our beliefs. And as I said yesterday, they sold it to Al Jazeera. Now today, find out a little bit more about this thing. Al Gore sold it for $500 million. That's $500 million. And he pushed for this sale to take place before the tax increase on January 1st. So here we have this guy who's all about, look, I've said it time and time again, that liberals want your taxes to go up, not theirs. Because if they honestly felt that giving Washington, D.C. more money was in our nation's best interest, why don't they just volunteer to pay more? Why do they try to take every possible deduction, or, what they call a loophole, they can possibly take and get away with? Why don't they just sign their tax form without any deductions? We'll let them have the standard deductions. Why don't they just take the standard deduction, no other deduction, sign the form and say, here you go, Uncle Sam, because you need more tax dollars? Why don't they do that? Because they want you to pay more. They want to spend your money, not their own. I mean, we know for a fact, and studies have proven this time and time again, year in and year out, that those who are registered as Republicans give more of their hard-earned income to charity than those who are registered Democrat. And we can look at it right at the top of the heap. I mean, Obama and Biden. I mean, you want to talk about two stingy people. These are facts, folks. But I digress. They're not facts. They're talking points. I'm spewing talking points. And by the way, there's another reason to be upset with our government. It's rising prices. And it's rising prices due to overwhelming demand. Do you know what it costs now for a half dozen arrows without tips. Just the shafts. You know what it costs? I mean, I was looking at the price of a decent, a package of half dozen arrows. The price is getting ridiculous. I better get good at making my own arrows because this is. I mean, seriously. I mean, gun shops are running out of certain kinds of guns. Some gun owners, they're pretty smart. They remove some of their inventory, waiting for the prices to rise and the demand to be pent up. And it's getting to that point. Hey, I don't blame them. It's called demand. There's nothing wrong with that. If there's a demand for a product and the supply is down, well, it's obviously going to, be worth more. That's fair. I don't have a problem with it, but So evidently, Al Jazeera thought that $500 million for the fledgling, failing and flailing, not company, but a cable channel from Al Gore was worth it. Now they got a foothold. I wonder what they're going. I don't know. I wonder what they're going to put on TV now on the cable thing. I still won't be watching it, but I think it's interesting. They wouldn't sell it to Glenn Beck, but they'll sell it to a terrorist supporting oil money backed organization called Al Jazeera. Look, hey, Al is supposed to be, and that's another really interesting thing. That's oil money, but Al's supposed to be against oil. Well, he doesn't like oil because it contributes to global warming. And this is a guy that made millions off of this carbon credit thing. I'm wondering what Al is doing because he closed down the carbon credit. It was kind of like a stock market. So he closed out because first of all, our government, Congress didn't go with the Kyoto Treaty. They didn't go with any kind of global warming treaty. So companies weren't forced to go this route of trading carbon credits. So, but still, Gore made a mint off of it. But he shut it down because no more money was being made off of it. And now he starts this cable company and he sells it for $500 million and he shuts it down when he gets out of it. It looks like Al is consolidating his position. I don't know. Maybe Al Gore is about to go into self-imposed exile. I mean, there are people out there today that believe that Elvis Presley is still alive, that he didn't die. He just went into a self-imposed exile. There are people out there that think that that's exactly what happened to Jim Morrison of the Doors. He went into a self-imposed exile, and there are people that swear up and down that they have seen Jim Morrison and Elvis Presley. Not necessarily together, but they've seen them. Alive, today. How old would Elvis be right now? Would he be in his, he'd be in his 70s now, right? Because he was, what was it, 42, 47 when he died, somewhere around there? Back in 77. So that's, it's 30 some odd years ago. So he'd be in his 70s, possibly, or early 80s today. Morrison, same thing, right? No, well, no, he'd be more in his 60s, right? Morrison, he'd be like the Beatles and Rolling Stones, mid 60s right now. From Jim Morrison, he could still be alive. I don't. There are a lot of questions behind both of their deaths. I did see something about a year ago about somebody claiming that they actually saw Kurt Cobain in Mexico. Now, I suppose it'd be a good place for him to go. if he were to still be alive. But